She kissed her son goodbye, walked back to her car, and minutes later, a gunshot shattered everything. A normal school drop-off turned into a crime scene, and an ordinary morning became the worst day imaginable. When tragedy hits, who really protects the family, the law, or the crowd online? If stories like this matter to you, hit like so more people hear it, and subscribe. That way you'll never miss the truths others try to bury. Romeca Meeks was just 31 years old, a mother whose morning looked like anyone else's. Drop off your child, straighten the backpack, get back to work. Ordinary steps, until in Chicago's South Loop that day, those steps ended with flashing sirens and an irreversible silence. Her death wasn't just another headline, it was a fracture in the lives of everyone who loved her. Neighbors felt it, the streets mourned, the news cycle churned. But the family's grief wasn't allowed to stay private, because almost instantly something darker appeared. Fake fundraisers, pages claiming to raise money for her son, but redirecting love into pockets that had nothing to do with him. Strangers who had never met Romeca used her tragedy as currency. And so, in the middle of mourning, Romeca's family had to do something no grieving family should ever have to do. Defend her memory, defend her child, defend truth itself. If you believe families should be protected in moments like this, type the word heart in the comments. It's a small symbol, but it shows her son that people still care. The investigator working this case made it clear, the facts are still raw, still tangled. But one truth stood out, social media was moving faster than justice. Posts were spreading faster than police reports. Rumors were shaping the story before detectives even filed their notes. And in that race, the family's only weapon was their own voice. They had to speak louder than the lies, so they called out the fakes. They demanded attention. They launched the official GoFundMe themselves, drawing a hard line between real support and exploitation. This wasn't just fundraising, it was survival in a digital battlefield where sympathy could be stolen as quickly as it appeared. And here's where the rhythm changes, because this story isn't just about a shooting, it's about what happens after. It's about how modern grief lives online, where compassion competes with scams, where tragedy becomes a hashtag, and where families are forced to navigate both loss and deception in the same breath. People want to help, but in that fragile space between kindness and corruption, who decides what's real? Romeca's son is now left with questions no child should face. His future is uncertain, his path unclear, but therefore the official fundraiser matters. Not as a symbol, not as a trending link, but as his actual lifeline. A lifeline written in the clicks, shares, and choices of strangers who decide whether to care or to scroll. She kissed her son goodbye, walked back to her car, and minutes later, a gunshot shattered everything. But the battle didn't end at the crime scene. It moved online, where even grief had to be defended. If this story moved you, don't stop here. Watch my video on the Charlie Kirk assassination, another case that shook the nation and raised even more questions about violence, power, and the truth we're not being told. You'll see it on screen now.